Savelle Foy, your cheerleader of dreams. Hey, if you've never subscribed to this podcast, just push the little red button right there to get consistent teaching tools and tips to help you live your dreams. Today I want to talk about focus on your one thing. Focus on your one thing. In fact, let me ask you, when people hear your name, what do they think of? What do they associate you with? You know, when you think of people like Michael Jordan, what do you think of? Basketball. When you think of Leonardo DiCaprio, what do you think of? Acting. When you think of people like Celine Dion, what do you think of? Singing, like the greatest voice ever, right? Well, see, being known for something means you're not a jack of all trades, you're a specialist. I heard someone say one time, it's better to be world-class at a few things than mediocre at most things. So what is it that you're supposed to be world-class at? What are you supposed to be known for? See, being known for something, it points you in the right direction. In fact, I love this story I heard about a guy named Terri who he said, he didn't know what he was going to do with his life. He got a financial degree. He said he became a financial planner, and he said he started all these little businesses that failed. Nothing was going his way. He actually went through a painful divorce with his 5 sons at home to support. He had all these little businesses on the side, but nothing was working. He said, I didn't know what I was doing. He said when he was a kid in Catholic school, the nuns used to put him down and they'd make statements like, if you don't get serious, you're going to end up making burgers for a living. He said one day he got to thinking about this little hamburger joint in his hometown. He said all the owner did was sold nothing but burgers, but he was happy. He said all of a sudden an idea popped into his head about burgers. He said, that's something I know I can do. He said maybe the nuns were onto something. Burgers, keep it simple, right? He said this could work. Well, he went and met with the bank. The bank thought he was out of his mind. Well, he found a place where the rent was low, out of the way, hard to find, but he said if we can get people coming, we got something. He put $35,000 into this company. He said it was just a little stand-up. He even asked his kids, do you want to go to college or do you want to use your college money to start this burger joint? His kids wanted in on it, and they poured their focus into it. Then he said they're sitting at the bank, and the bank said, well, you need a name. He said, oh, yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. He said he looked around at his kids, and he thought, well, until we think of something, let's call it Five Guys. Five Guys Burgers. He said the first day, by 1 o'clock, they were packed out. They found their one thing, and the money came. They said, if you meet the owner at a party today, he'll say, my name is Terri. I make burgers. Well, today, Five Guys has a revenue of $2 billion. Well, when you really think about it, most people, they don't win a gold medal in 2 sports. They go all in on one thing. Well, here's what I want you to realize. When you get laser focused on one thing, it helps you choose your friends, number 1, who you should hang around. Number 2, your library, which type of books you need to be reading and pouring yourself into. Your time, where you need to allocate your time. Number 4, your energy. Where do you need to spend your energy the most? And number 5, your money. Somebody once said, show me your checking account and I'll show you your priorities, right? Well, like I said earlier, it's better to be world-class at a few things than mediocre at most things. Same with Domino's Pizza. The founder, Tom Monahan, he said the same thing. He was asked, what is the secret of your success? He said a fanatical focus on doing one thing very well. He said if it's pizza, focus on pizza. Bill Gates said the same thing. He said if you want to be a great software company, you have to be only a software company. So it's when we dabble in so many ideas and shiny things that come along to make money, that's when we become okay at many things, but not great at any one thing. So most of the successful people that you admire, they're not great at everything. They're great at one thing. In fact, you may have heard this before. Somebody said, the key to making money is in the word money. They said, take the 2 outside letters, my, and focus on your one thing. When you determine your one thing, that's when you begin to prosper. That's when God gets to use the gift he's given you. You've heard the statement, where your attention goes, the money flows. So I want to encourage you to become so focused that you distinguish yourself. I love this that Miles Monroe said. He said, carve out a niche for yourself that they can't ignore you. Now see, if someone offers you something and it doesn't line up with your vision, it's easy to say no. Because you weren't born to do everything. Miles Monroe says, we tend to think that we have a lot to do. We don't. He said, when you study people like Joseph, Moses, Paul, John, Jesus, Abraham, he said their lives were very simple people. This is the term associated with them. This one thing I do. So get to the point where you know your one thing that you do. And I love this story about James Cameron. He said when he was asked how he managed to produce two of the highest grossing movies of all time, Titanic and Avatar, you know what he said? Focus. He said, you've got to be super focused like a laser to get anything worthwhile done. He said, when I did Avatar, I was super focused for 4 years. Same with Larry Page, the co-founder of Google. He said, you should focus on one important goal and you need to be single-minded about it. Well, like I said before, successful people are not great at everything. They're great at one thing. James 4 says, a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. How many of his ways? All of them. Listen to this real quick about a guy named Richard St. John. He has one of the highest viewed TED Talks that's out there on YouTube. Well, he said for 10 years, he was all over the place. He said he was dabbling in business and music, design, photography. Then he got into sailing and cooking and running. He said, I was okay at a lot of stuff, but not great at any one thing. Well, finally, he decided to put all of his focus on doing one thing. What was it? Photography. He said, I want to become an expert in photography. Well, he became very successful an advertising photographer. He won many awards for photography, including the best corporate video in the world. In other words, focus pays off. So I want to encourage you, have a to-do list, but also have a to-don't list. Winston Churchill said this, you'll never reach your destination if you stop and throw stones at every dog that barks. In other words, you must be focused and not distracted by everything around you trying to get your attention. So focus on what matters and let go of what doesn't. So I want to mention real quick, our YouTube subscriber for this week is a precious girl named Liz. Listen to what Liz wrote. She said, you may have a petite and precious voice. Thank you, Liz. But Terri, your words are powerful. I believe God intentionally led me to you for many reasons. You're such a blessing and a fantastic teacher. Thank you, Liz. She said, God has richly blessed me by just listening to your videos. She said, I now have a plan. I love that. Thank you so much for your obedience to the Lord, and may He continue to bless you, others, and us as we sow into your ministry. I love you and your daddy. I love my dad too. Thank you, Liz. And I'm cheering you on, Liz, because I'm believing now that you have a plan, you're going to succeed on purpose. So thank you for taking the time to write in. And I want to encourage you, be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. You'll find the handles below, and subscribe to this podcast for consistent encouragement. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.